Oh man, the old adage rings truer every day. We do indeed live in a society. I noticed this Westword on a shelf at a local spot the other day, and let me just say, Westword has gone down the shitter. Not only is there no comic in here, and half of it is just ads for weed, but the cover is an AI generated piece. What a load of shit. What's really funny about this AI generated piece is the article that goes along with it is actually pretty interesting. It's about this black guy who entered the Olympics like before Jesse Owens. Everyone knows about Jesse Owens and how he ran at the Olympics. Apparently Colorado Springs had a guy who entered into the Olympics. And, you know, history doesn't remember this guy. He's very obscure, as all Coloradan celebrities tend to be, as all, like, important historical Coloradan people tend to be. Nobody, like, acknowledges him or gives him credit, you know, because he's, like, a black guy, and he entered the Olympics in, like, the 20s. And, like, think about it. Is this a respectful way to pay homage to this guy, to make this fucking zombification of him here? What the fuck, Westword? What the fuck is wrong with you? There was a point in time where, as an up-and-coming aspiring cartoonist, I thought, when I get an interview in Westword, when Westword interviews me, that's the day that I'll be considered a respected figure in the media community. And these days, Westword has gone down in quality so much that my publications are respected more on a local level than fucking Westword. I think that's really sad, but it just kind of speaks to the standard of quality to which local journalism has dropped. If you look on the inside of this issue of Westword, if you go back to the culture page, which is very ironic here because, you know, you're using AI, which is like the opposite of culture. It says, an AI rendition of Dolphus Stroud in Paris. The guy's name is Dolphus Stroud. An AI rendition created by Frank Shines. And then there's a little credit to the side here of this bastard Frank Shines. Now let me ask you, Frank, did you create this or did an AI create this? Because I don't think you created it. If you weren't such a fucking hack, you could take a paintbrush, right? You could take a paintbrush and just paint Dolphus Stroud on a Parisian street. If you can't draw a black guy on a street in Paris, and this doesn't even look like Paris, it's just amorphous shitty blobs behind him. If you can't just draw a black guy on a street in Paris, if you can't imagine, conceptualize in your head, oh, here's this guy, and here's a street behind him, it's a French street, okay, I'm gonna draw a French street behind this guy. If you can't do that, then what the fuck are you doing in Westword, and what the fuck are you doing contributing content to a newspaper? If you can't do that, stay out the fucking kitchen. God, this shit pisses me off. I mean, I'm not the only one here, right? Doesn't this look like ugly? His face is all unsymmetrical. His ears don't make any sense. And I'm not stupid, you know, I can tell when something is AI generated. This looks awful. It makes him look really bad, which is a shame, because he was probably a cool guy, but here, like, his mouth is, like, twisted at, like, this weird angle. His hair is all, like, it's all blurry around the edges, and it just looks like, oh, it just looks terrible. This is not a good way to honor our local celebrities. What we should be doing is taking up a fucking paintbrush, right? Paint this guy, and you can use your human brain to paint a human in a more accurate way than a robot can. Crazy, I know, but, you know, you can do that. So, yeah, fuck Westword, and fuck Frank Shines, or whatever his name is. Fuck John Flathman, you know, he wrote the article, but, you know, fuck him too for co-signing on this piece of garbage. I'm just gonna say it, I've had about up to here with this shit, and I think it's very important to reiterate my standards and morals and say that this shit is patently unacceptable in a civilized 21st century society. I see posters all the time, like I'll just be walking out on the street and I'll see posters for like starving artists who can't afford rent, can't afford food, you know, they're like trans, and they're like, I'm gonna draw a furry for like $50, please help me out. I'll draw a furry for you, or I'll draw your anime waifu, you know, I do commissions, I take commissions, please, just help me out. And imagine if Westword did the respectable thing, right? Actually searched around in the local community and got one of those trans artists or furry artists or whatever and was like, hey, you know, we know you normally draw like furries and stuff, but here, you can draw Dolphus Stroud, right? You can draw this guy, right? And they could probably do a better job than a fucking robot could. I see so many artists who are just like desperate for work, you know, desperate to do shit and really need like money, you know, because Denver's a hostile economic climate. You know, I don't need that. I don't need like a ton of money or anything. But, you know, to the artists who do, need to be supported and do need to be like paid and compensated fairly for their labor, this just makes me fucking sick. I see a bunch of magazines, not just Westword, Modern Drunkard, which I have zero respect for as a publication. They're like 50% AI art now, basically. And it's just fucking sick, you know? These publications are so fucking cheap. They can't just pay a real artist. They probably paid, what's his name, fucking Frank Shines for making this crap, but they don't like pay a real artist to just paint the guy, which would look cooler and better. And there's nothing cool or interesting about this. It's shit. It's just a pile of shit. It really disgusts me that people would stoop to such immoral behavior. You might say, oh, well, it's just for fun. Well, I'm sure there are some people out there who consider rape or murder fun, but those are both patently immoral activities. And I'm not going to condone or endorse that. It's sick. Now, I could be wrong here. I could be making this up out of thin air, but I think there's kind of a hint of racism to the fact that they couldn't just take the time out of their fucking day to paint this guy. It takes me about like 10 hours to make a really good painting, but it doesn't take that much time. Why can't you just paint this guy? Like, they treat it like, you know, he has to have an AI rendition because it's some kind of archaeological find or something. But he's not like a long dead Egyptian pharaoh who we don't know what he looked like King Tut or whatever. He's literally just a guy from the 20s, and right under this AI rendition, there's like a photo of his whole family and shit, a normal photo. So it's like we know what this guy looked like. We have photos of him. We have historical records. Why can't we just paint him? Why can't we just take the time and show some respect to this guy, because he's a cool guy, and just paint him? For fuck's sake. People are like, oh, Nick, why do you dislike science? And I don't really dislike science. I've made videos about this. But one field of science is tech. Whether you like to admit that or not, one field is tech. And when tech and these Silicon Valley asshats come out with shit that threatens my life, that threatens my survival, and threatens my occupation, I'm gonna be pissed about it, and I'm gonna call you a bunch of schemers and grifters and bullshitters. And that's what you are. You in tech are full of shit, and you need to cut it the fuck out, because we've got Windows 10, and that's the best operating system we're going to get. You can't top that functionality. You can't go, oh, more features now. Like, as far as technology goes, I think we're good. We got the internet, we got phones and shit, so, you know, let's just stop developing technology for a while. Let's ride this one out, and let's start focusing on art, okay? We don't need any more fucking phones. We've got 50 models already. Oh, Nick, why do you hate technology? They're only ruining your industry. You know, I don't go into fucking CERN and smash their shit up with a sledgehammer, so I expect science to stay in its own lane, and art to stay in its lane, and us to just like mutually respect each other. But if you're a Silicon Valley shithead and all you can do is AI render shit, you're not an artist, and you're never going to be an artist, and that's okay. You need like visual capacity in your head to be able to make art. Some people aren't like that. Some people are more informationally based or more auditory based, and that's fine. Whatever your brain does well that works for you is cool, but you don't just get to be like, oh, well, I can't draw shit, but now I'm gonna pretend like I can draw shit. You just can't draw shit. You know, if you can't draw this guy, don't pretend like you can draw him, because all that happens is it looks like shit, and you're just lying to everyone, and you're not even an artist. So just like, you know, what the fuck are you doing here? Stick in your own lane. Oh, Nick, why do you hate science so much? You know, science isn't all good. It can be used to kill people. You know, not just the atomic bomb, chemical warfare, biological warfare, Agent Orange. Agent Orange is a product of science. Guess what else is? AI, product of science. Agent Orange was developed by scientists in a lab. You know, not good scientists, evil scientists. Scientists who use their knowledge of chemistry for bad things, to maim people and fill their lungs with a toxic orange smoke. Name me one time, if you could, where art has been used to hurt people. Like, that's why I like art, right? Because it really can't hurt people to the extent that science is capable of doing. Like, name me one time when art does damage to people as much as Agent Orange. I know that they play like Skinny Puppy on blast at Guantanamo Bay or whatever to the detainees, but I'm gonna say it, you know, that doesn't do as much damage as Agent Orange. You know, loud music isn't going to kill you as fast as orange vapor entering your lungs and just like ruining your body completely. Unit 731 in Imperial Japan, all those guys are scientists. I don't get why current society like props and elevates scientists up so much. Name me one artist who's like as evil as a scientist is capable of potentially being. You know, name me one. Name one piece of art that's killed as many people as a scientific invention. And I don't hate science, but like science can do some fucked up shit, and this is an example of that fucked up shit that science is capable of doing. Like, yes, can a computer make a picture? Yeah, a computer can make a picture, but it'll look like shit, and we should really just be letting humans do this, because there's no point to let a computer make a picture. It's fucking lame. And I just expect better from people. But I guess maybe humanity's just fucked, you know? Maybe we're all just a bunch of fucking idiots, you know? And I don't know, prove me wrong, I guess. I've thought about this, but I may have to, you know, in the future, in the same way I currently talk about how I record on tape, because tape is very much the best audio format that's ever been developed. And people are like, oh, you're stuck in the past, man. Why do you record on tape? And I'm like, it's not because of the past or anything. It's just because it's a good format. It's good to record on. I might have to, in the future, explain how I draw shit. I might have to explain how I paint the old-fashioned way. And everyone around me, all these brainwashed idiot simpletons who've just stopped drawing and painting and just gone over to the AI bandwagon because they're fucking morally bankrupt and contemptible, would be like, oh, wow, you draw the old-fashioned way. Wild. Wow, isn't that crazy? What do you mean you don't use Midjourney? You use like a brush and a canvas? And I'll be like, yeah, no shit. It's what I do. I might just have to explain that to people in the future, like how it works, because they'll have forgotten how it works. But it won't be that different from now, like explaining how cassettes work, because most people already don't even know how to load a fucking cassette tape into a cassette player, and they don't realize that like the full spool goes on the left and the empty spool goes on the right. So like, if people don't know how to put a cassette into a cassette player, then, you know, that's not too different from having to explain in the future what drawing is. It's kind of similar to how I don't like anime, and I don't watch anime or anything, because people don't read enough American comics, watch enough American cartoons, and I think that's sad, because American comics have a long and historic legacy and are awesome and cool, and more people should read them, but everyone just reads manga. And everyone's like, well, it's more creative. And it's like, no, it's really not. But you just hop on this popularity train because you don't know what a good American comic looks like, because it's been so long since America produced any comics that approach any kind of standard of quality. You don't know what a good American comic looks like. But I don't like manga or anime, not just because I don't get the plots or anything, which I don't, but I don't like it because It's unfair to American cartoonists. And I don't just mean that, like, I hate competition. Competition is good, and cultural exchange is good. And if we in Japan were trading comics back and forth in, like, equal proportions, I think that'd be awesome. We could learn a lot about each other. But I guarantee, and this is true, Japanese people don't read American comics like we Americans read Japanese comics. And that's just uneven. And, you know, they're not reading Crazy Cat over there. And I think that's sad. This isn't Japan's fault. They're just taking advantage of a gap in the market because it's been so fucking long since we produced anything of value for ourselves. And if we apply ourselves, if we try and give a shit about creating good, competent fucking art, we absolutely could. If we just tried, if we just like gave a shit. But I guess we don't, so that's why Japan keeps shipping their comics over here, and we're not, you know, sending any comics over there. Like, I guarantee over in Japan, they're not reading Batman and stuff as much as we read Dragon Ball or whatever. It's not happening. I'll give anime and manga credit for this, though. At least they draw their own shit. They don't just use, like, a cheat code to pretend like they drew their own shit. Over in Japan, they apply themselves, and if they make a comic, they're gonna draw the whole fucking comic. And I guess we Americans have just forgotten how the fuck to do that. And it's really pathetic and sad. At least, like, manga's like an actual comic, like, drawn by, like, human hands. So I can respect it on that level. It takes work to make, even if I don't get it, and I'd much rather read, like, Polly and Her Pals by Cliff Sterrett or something. Where's all the Polly and Her Pals fans? You know, I see all these, like, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure fans. Where's all the Polly and Her Pals type fans? Where's the Polly and Her Pals fan base, you know? I'm not into JoJo. JoJo can go soak his nozo. I'm interested in Polly and Her Pals. Or, you know, how about like Crazy Cat? Where's all the Crazy Cat fans? I like anime, but AI is just the next step of shit, and I cannot stand this shit. It really just grates my mind. I'm honored to be alive for this, honestly, so I can make fun of it and, like, roast it for just, like, how awful it is, how completely putrid. But this is the last fucking thing Denver needs. Denver does not need this shit. Denver already is artistically broken. We already have a piss-poor media ecosystem here. We already don't pay our artists jack shit. We already take in, like, millions of dollars of marijuana tourist revenue annually, and artists don't see any of that. And that's fucking disgusting. But the last thing we need in this broken economy is for this shit to happen. Summation, just like, fuck Westword, fuck AI, death to the robots. I have zero sympathy or tolerance for this kind of shit. And if Westword, you know, wants to interview me in the future, I'm just gonna say, like, you know, fuck it. I don't need that Wikipedia article. Because you need an article in some kind of what they consider a real publication to get a Wikipedia article. I thought, oh, maybe if Westword interviews me, I can finally get a Wikipedia article. Fuck it. Wikipedia will probably be written by AI in a couple of years, so I don't even care if I have a Wikipedia article. You know, how do I even know the fucking Westword logo isn't AI generated? Probably fucking is. Half the fucking weed ads in here are probably AI generated. You can't trust shit anymore. It's all just lies and nonsense and a bunch of bullshit. Zero respect for this, and yeah, I just figured I'd mention that. Fuck Westword. This is tacky and embarrassing, and makes me sick. No one else is talking about this, so I figure I should, because someone's got to say it. Like, you know, the buck stops here. If you use AI art, I don't take your publication seriously. I just think you're too much of lazy fucking hacks to hire a real artist, and, you know, it's like a cheap out option. So, you know, Westword, more like Wasteword, more like West Turd, because you don't have a bone of taste in your fucking greasy bodies, and you need to get a grip on yourself. Anyway, yeah, that's all for this video. It's an interesting time to be around. Frick.